Hey guys, in this video we're making a beautiful cowrie shell bracelet. This design has a single sliding knot and the cowrie shells go the whole way around the bracelet. For our design today we're using two 50cm lengths of 0.8mm cord. We're using beautiful flat back cowrie shells today, so I just check them all, make sure there's no broken ones. For my size shells here I'll probably use 7 or 8 shells. We're also using some silver spacer beads in our design as well. Now we start by placing the ends of our cord together and measuring along about 12 to 15 centimeters. I know it looks like 10 here, but I think it's better if it's a little bit longer. Now bringing that cord around to form a loop, bringing the ends through the loop and pulling that overhand knot down onto that spot. Making sure that knot's nice and tight. Now we can start with our cowrie shells. So the first one, we take the cord up the shell, so in the bottom, out the top, and then with the other cord, we take it down the shell, so in the top, out the bottom. Then slide our shell up towards the end. So you should have one cord coming each way to hold that shell secure. Now in between each shell I like to place a bead, so I'm just using 3mm silver beads with a 2mm hole, and I find that helps to bring the cords together. So just placing that bead onto both cords. Sliding it right up to the end as well. Now placing another cowrie shell on. So again we're taking one cord down the shell and the other cord we take up the shell and pull it up near that previous bead. Now we just continue our whole bracelet. So depending on what size you want your bracelet, this middle section with our shells will generally be a little bit bigger than your wrist measurement size. My wrist measurement is about 16.5 centimeters, and I'm going to make this about 18 centimeters long. And then with our sliding knot, that will make it a little bit bigger than that as well. It does depend a little bit on the size of your shells and whether you want that last one on or off, but you can sort of judge it when you get to the end and try it around your wrist for size as well. Okay, so you can see mine here is about 18 centimeters. Now I'm going to tie another simple overhand knot at the end here. Now you do want to make sure your cords are pulled through nice and evenly. And then obviously on this side we didn't put a bead, so at the end of it here we're not putting a bead either. So it's nice and even, but just pulling both threads through so that our shells sit nice and flat. Now just grabbing on the end here, bringing our cords around to form a loop, bringing the end through the loop and pulling this knot down nice and tight up close to that last cowrie shell. Making sure that knot is nice and tight on both cords. Now we're going to tie our sliding knot. These cords over here don't need to be quite so long, so I'll just snip a little bit off. Now we're going to bring the bracelet round into a bracelet shape and overlap these cords on the right hand side here. So we're going to tie our sliding knot over all the cords. Now with another length of cord that's about 40 centimeters long. So just cut that off and then place it underneath where these cords overlap. Now we bring the left end around across to the right hand side, leaving a little loop here on the left. Now the right side cord, we bring it down over this other cord and gently pass it underneath to come up that loop on the left hand side. Now pull both ends tight. Now for a square knot slider, we alternate each stitch. So this next stitch will be a right side stitch. So bringing that right side cord around across to the left, leaving a little loop there. Now with the left side cord, we bring it down over this other cord and then gently pass it underneath to come up that loop on the right hand side. Now back to a left side stitch. So just keep alternating these stitches until your little sliding knot is as long as you want it to be. Once you're happy with the length of your sliding knot here, then we can cut the tails off on the sides of the knot. I gently melt and tap to fuse that end onto the knot. So careful not to melt too much, we still need this knot to be able to slide along. Now once your sliding knot is in place, it should slide along all the other cords. So you want to pull them together so that there's no slack in any of the cords. And then we can tie some simple overhand knots on the ends of each cord. It's a good idea to check to make sure you'll have enough length to get it over your hand onto your wrist. And once you know the right position, then you can tie some knots on the ends of each cord. If you wanted to, you could place a bead onto the threads as well. Sometimes that makes it a little bit easier to do the bracelet up. I'm just placing another one of our silver beads onto both threads. And then tie a simple knot onto that spot. So bring your cords around to form a loop, bring the ends through the loop, and make sure they're pulled down nice and evenly on both cords. Once you're happy with them, then you can cut these tails off just outside the knots and singe with a lighter so they don't fray. And there's your beautiful cowrie shell sliding knot bracelet.